Have you ever stopped to think about what happens when someone vanishes without a trace, as if reality itself had swallowed them up? The cases we're exploring today are so unsettling that they'll make you question everything you know about safety, investigation, and even what's possible in our world. Welcome to 7 Unsolved Mysterious Disappearances. Stories that have stumped even the best detectives, left grieving families without answers, and intrigued the public for decades. By watching this video, you won't just learn about unsolved cases, you'll dive into mysteries that challenge our own perception of justice and stir up a fear of the unknown. And who knows? Maybe you'll spot details that no one else has noticed. Or, if you've ever lost someone close, this journey could be a way to connect with the struggle of so many families still waiting for answers. Imagine how you would feel if a loved one suddenly disappeared, with no clue, no explanation. What would your reaction be? How would you handle the anguish of not knowing what happened? These cases will make you reflect on how life can change in the blink of an eye and might even make you reconsider your own safety. So, get ready for an experience that promises to grip your attention until the very end. Mysterious disappearances always capture our curiosity, forcing us to face the inexplicable. The mystery lies in the unknown, in the details that never seem to fit, and in the questions that echo without answers. Cases of people vanishing without a trace don't just challenge investigators but also make us question our own sense of security. What if it happened to someone close? Or to us? Often, there are common factors: a moment of carelessness, an isolated location, or a strange event unfolding in a split second. Yet, some disappearances defy all logical explanations. Even with modern technology that could solve more cases, certain stories continue to baffle even the most experienced detectives and forensic experts. In this video, you'll learn about 7 unsolved disappearances, each one more bizarre and disturbing than the last. From families who vanished from their own homes to people who disappeared in broad daylight, these cases aren't just unanswered enigmas. They carry emotional weight, leaving loved ones trapped in a cycle of hope and despair. Are you ready to dive into mysteries that challenge human understanding? Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear may make you question how much we really know about the world around us. The disappearance of Maura Murray. On February 9, 2004, Maura Murray, a 21-year-old nursing student, mysteriously vanished in the mountains of Haverhill, New Hampshire. The day started off normally, but Maura seemed anxious. Around 7 p.m., after leaving the University of Massachusetts Amherst campus, she lost control of her car on a snow-covered rural road, crashing into a snowbank. Several motorists witnessed the accident and called the police. A neighbor offered assistance, but Maura declined, saying she had already called a tow truck. When the police arrived just 10 minutes later, the car was empty. Maura had vanished, leaving her vehicle behind with the engine still running, doors locked, and personal belongings inside, including credit cards, identification, and even her purse. There were no footprints in the snow indicating where she might have gone. The mystery deepened as investigations continued. There were no signs of a struggle, and authorities couldn't find any evidence that she had been abducted or had run away willingly. During the search, tracking dogs picked up her scent for about 100 yards down the road before losing it, suggesting Maura might have been picked up by an unknown vehicle. Theories about what happened to Maura are diverse and often contradictory. Some believe she ran away to start a new life, while others insist she fell victim to a heinous crime that frigid night. Could she have simply gotten lost in the mountains, never to be found, or is there something far more sinister behind her disappearance? What do you think really happened to Maura Murray? Did she willingly leave everything behind, or did someone or something ensure she would never be seen again? It's a mystery that continues to haunt the hearts and minds of all who know her story. The disappearance of Brandon Swanson. It was a cold spring night on May 14, 2008, when Brandon Swanson, a 19-year-old young man, mysteriously vanished in Marshall, Minnesota. Brandon was driving home after celebrating the end of the school year with friends when his journey took a sudden and unexpected turn. Around 1:15 a.m., his car became stuck in a ditch on a dark rural road. Without wasting time, Brandon called his parents, explaining his location and asking them to come pick him up. During the call, Brandon remained calm, describing the surroundings: complete darkness, a few utility poles, and a road that seemed to lead nowhere. He stayed on the phone with his parents as he walked, trying to guide them to his location, but something was off. His parents, even while driving and following his instructions, couldn't find him. Suddenly, there was a terrifying moment. Brandon exclaimed, "Oh, shit," and the call ended. His parents tried calling back numerous times, but there was no response. Search efforts began at dawn, but Brandon's car was far from the place he had described, and he was never found. Scent dogs followed his trail to a nearby river, but no sign of him was ever discovered, not clothes, nor any belongings. The theories surrounding his disappearance are as numerous as the questions he left behind. The most common hypothesis is that Brandon fell into the river and drowned, but experts find it strange that his body was never recovered, even after extensive searches. Others believe he may have been the victim of a crime, followed in the darkness by someone who used the remote terrain to their advantage. There's also a chilling theory: what if Brandon encountered something unexpected or someone with terrible intentions? The fear in his voice, the last exclamation, all suggest he saw something that terrified him. Some even consider the possibility that he ran into a wild predator or something inexplicable. What do you think caused that reaction of fear in Brandon? A tragic accident, a criminal act, or something darker and incomprehensible? What really lurks in the darkness of those deserted roads? The disappearance of Brian Shaffer. On April 1, 2006, Brian Shaffer, a 27-year-old medical student at Ohio State University, disappeared in a way that defied all logical explanations. It was a Saturday night, and Brian went out to celebrate the beginning of spring break with friends. They visited several bars, but the final destination was the Ugly Tuna Saloon, a popular bar in the city's entertainment district. Security cameras captured Brian entering the bar with his friends around 1:15 a.m. He was seen talking, laughing, and enjoying the night. At some point, Brian stepped away from his friends, possibly to chat with someone or take a walk, and no one saw him leave. The cameras at the bar's main entrance, which monitored everyone coming and going, never recorded Brian leaving. It was as if he had vanished without a trace, in a crowded, monitored location. The mystery led to a series of theories, each stranger than the last. The simplest hypothesis is that Brian left through a service exit or a secondary door, but all these exits led to areas that were thoroughly searched with no results. Could he have managed to avoid the cameras, or did someone deliberately erase the footage? It's a theory that challenges technological evidence. Some speculate that Brian was the victim of an unrecorded crime. Maybe he was taken by force or drugged, but the question remains: how could this happen without anyone noticing in such a busy place? Another theory suggests a possible cover-up, involving people inside the bar. This speculation, although without concrete evidence, makes people wonder if there are secrets lurking beneath the surface of the case. Others believe Brian staged his own disappearance to escape a life that had become unbearable. Friends and family, however, say he was excited about life and planning a trip with his girlfriend. But what if the pain from losing his mother months earlier had left deeper scars than anyone imagined? On the other hand, more sinister and paranormal theories have emerged over time. Some speculate that there's something supernatural at play, especially given the fact that he disappeared on the night of April 1st, a date full of symbolism for some. Could unknown forces be involved, or is this just our minds trying to find answers to the inexplicable? And you, what do you think? How did Brian manage to disappear from such a monitored place without leaving a trace? What really happened that night? The mystery endures, and maybe you can help solve this bewildering story. The disappearance of Madeleine McCann. On May 3, 2007, the world was shocked by the disappearance of Madeleine McCann, a 3-year-old British girl, while on vacation with her family in Praia da Luz, Portugal. On that fateful night, Madeline's parents, Kate and Jerry McCann, were dining with friends at a nearby restaurant within the resort while she and her two younger siblings slept in the apartment. Every half hour, one of the adults in the group would check on the children. But around 10 p.m., when Kate returned to the apartment, she discovered that Madeline was missing. The window of the room was open, and there were no signs of a struggle. News of the disappearance quickly spread, and soon the resort and village were on high alert, with frantic searches for Madeline. The case became one of the most investigated and debated disappearances in history, and theories began to emerge almost immediately. One of the most widespread is that Madeline was abducted by a predator, perhaps someone who had been observing her for days, waiting for the perfect opportunity. Sightings of a girl resembling Madeline were reported in several countries, but no lead ever produced a definitive result. Another controversial theory involves Madeline's own parents. The Portuguese police initially considered them suspects after cadaver dogs detected the scent of a corpse in the apartment and in the family's rental car weeks after the disappearance. However, the McCanns have always asserted their innocence and criticized authorities for investigation failures. This theory is even more complex, suggesting that if the parents were involved, it could have been an accident they tried to cover up, rather than something deliberate. Still, no concrete evidence has ever been found to support this hypothesis. Conspiracy theories also flourished over the years. Some people believe Madeline was a victim of an international child trafficking ring, which would explain the lack of tracks and the difficulties in tracing her. This theory gained traction with reports of child exploitation networks operating in the region, but it has never been proven. A darker hypothesis suggests a crime committed by someone known to the family or a resort employee who may have had inside information about the McCanns' routine. Some believe a cover-up might be involved, perhaps to protect powerful people or institutions. Then there are theories that defy logic, suggesting that Madeline was the victim of something supernatural or even abducted by forces beyond our understanding. Although unlikely, these ideas show how the case captures the collective imagination. With so many leads and few answers, the question remains, is Madeline still alive, or is her fate buried under secrets that may never be revealed? What do you think? Which of these theories makes the most sense, or is there something more hidden behind this mystery that continues to intrigue the world? The disappearance of the Sodder children. On Christmas Eve of 1945, a tragedy shook the town of Fayetteville, West Virginia. The Sodder family's house was destroyed by a fire, and 5 of the 10 children of George and Jenny Sodder vanished without a trace. George, Jenny, and 4 of their children managed to escape, but the 5 youngest children were presumed dead in the fire. However, something didn't seem right. After the fire, which burned for almost an hour and completely destroyed the house, the rubble was searched, but no bodies or remains were found. Experts stated that it was almost impossible for the bodies to have been completely consumed by the flames, which fueled suspicions that the Sodder children may not have died in the fire but had instead been kidnapped. Theories began to gain traction, starting with the idea that the fire was part of a meticulously planned cover-up for a kidnapping. George Sodder was an Italian immigrant who had been outspoken against Mussolini's regime, and this had earned him enemies in the community. The theory of political revenge grew stronger with reports of suspicious figures observing the house in the days leading up to the fire. Could the Sodder children have been taken as an act of retaliation, with the fire set to divert attention? Another mystery involves the series of strange events that happened before and after the tragedy. A strange phone call on the night of the fire, noises on the roof that woke Jenny, and the inexplicable failure of the fire trucks to arrive on time were all considered signs of something more sinister. And how do you explain the family's ladder, which was usually kept outside, being found in a ravine far from the house? There's also the theory that the children were victims of a child trafficking ring, supported by later sightings, including a mysterious photograph sent to the family in the 1960s. The photo showed a young man who bore a striking resemblance to one of the missing sons, with an enigmatic note written on the back. Was it a real clue or a cruel prank? Finally, some believe that the fire and disappearance were a mix of tragedy and human error, but with so many unanswered questions, how could the Sauter family accept this explanation? So, what do you think? Kidnapping, conspiracy, or a series of inexplicable events? This case doesn't just defy logic but also keeps the hope alive that one day the truth will be revealed. The disappearance of Lars Mittank. The case of Lars Mittank, a 28-year-old German, is considered one of the strangest disappearances ever recorded. In June 2014, Lars traveled to Bulgaria with friends for a vacation in the popular tourist region of Golden Sands. Everything seemed normal until the last day of the trip when Lars got into a fight with other tourists over a soccer match, resulting in an ear injury. A local doctor advised him not to fly immediately due to the injury and prescribed antibiotics. While his friends returned to Germany, Lars stayed behind, booking a hotel near Varna airport. His behavior began to grow increasingly erratic. He called his mother multiple times, whispering that he felt in danger and that men were following him, intending to harm him. He even mentioned hiding because he feared for his life, though he never explained who or what was threatening him. On the morning of July 8, 2014, security cameras at Varna airport captured Lars looking extremely agitated, glancing around nervously as if expecting the worst. Suddenly, he dropped his luggage, ran toward the exit, dashed through the terminal, jumped over a high fence, and disappeared into a nearby forest. It was the last time anyone saw him. Theories about what happened to Lars are varied and mysterious. One popular theory is that he suffered a psychotic episode, possibly triggered by the antibiotics or the head trauma from the fight. Doctors have said that some medications can cause hallucinations or paranoia in certain people, which could explain his erratic behavior. However, some believe Lars was genuinely in danger. He mentioned being followed by mysterious men, leading to speculation that he may have inadvertently gotten involved in something dangerous, such as drug or organ trafficking. The fact that he disappeared near Varna's port, an area known for criminal activities, lends weight to this theory. Another hypothesis is that he fell into a state of extreme paranoia and got lost in the forest, meeting a tragic fate. But if that's the case, why has his body never been found, even after extensive searches? Some believe he may have encountered someone or something in the forest that sealed his fate. Finally, there are theories involving conspiracies, such as Lars being the victim of a covert kidnapping, or that he deliberately disappeared to start a new life. What really happened that day? Do you think Lars was running from a real threat or was he a victim of his own mind? The cameras captured his final run, but the answers continue to elude us. The disappearance of Emanuela Orlandi. Emanuela Orlandi, a 15-year-old girl, disappeared on June 22, 1983, in a case that became one of Rome's darkest mysteries, still involving conspiracy theories and intrigue within the Vatican. Emanuela was the daughter of a Vatican employee and lived within the Vatican city walls with her family. That day, she left for a music lesson and never returned. Emanuela's disappearance triggered a series of bizarre events, including anonymous phone calls and cryptic messages. One of the first theories to emerge was that Emanuela had been kidnapped by a criminal organization to pressure the Vatican into releasing Mehmet Ali Agca, the man who attempted to assassinate Pope John Paul II in 1981. This theory gained credibility with various calls claiming she would be released in exchange for Agca's freedom. Another hypothesis involves organized crime. It's speculated that Emanuela was abducted to settle debts between the Vatican Bank and a notorious Roman gang known as the Banda della Magliana. Rumors of sinister connections between the Vatican and Rome's underworld continue to fuel this theory. The case took an even darker turn when a famous exorcist claimed that Emanuela was the victim of a satanic ritual performed within the Vatican. Although this theory is considered far-fetched, it reveals the aura of mystery surrounding the girl's disappearance. There is also the possibility that Emanuela fell victim to a more ordinary crime, such as human trafficking, though no concrete evidence has ever been found. In 2019, after decades of searching, the Vatican authorized the exhumation of 2 ancient tombs, but the investigation revealed nothing conclusive. What do you think happened to Emanuela Orlandi? Political kidnapping, criminal debt, or something more sinister and disturbing involving the Vatican's depths? This case continues to challenge even the most dedicated investigators and fascinates the world to this day. Theories and conspiracies. As we delve into the details of these 8 puzzling cases, it's hard not to notice certain patterns and similarities that make us wonder, is there something bigger at play? Some experts believe that many of these disappearances can be attributed to highly skilled criminals who know how to manipulate scenes and mislead investigations. Others point to human trafficking networks, arguing that victims like Madeleine McCann or Lars Mittank may have been targets of these organized operations, vanishing without leaving a trace. There are also theories suggesting the involvement of powerful entities or even governments, especially in cases like Emanuela Orlandi, where the Vatican is frequently mentioned. Could institutions be hiding secrets that should never come to light? And what about the mysterious places like forests and mountainous regions, where people like Maura Murray and Brandon Swanson disappeared? Could these locations be portals to something we don't yet understand, or are we just trying to make sense of the inexplicable? Other hypotheses include supernatural phenomena, such as alien abductions or forces beyond our comprehension. The question is, where does reality blend with the unknown? Now, I pass the question to you. Is it possible that there is a rational explanation for all this, or do these cases reveal that we still have much to discover about the world we live in? As we conclude our journey through these mysterious cases, one thing stands out: the unknown is both fascinating and terrifying. Each of these stories reminds us of how the world is full of secrets, with some answers that may never be revealed. But why do these disappearances captivate us so much? Perhaps it's the sense of vulnerability or the fear that something so inexplicable could happen to anyone. What makes it all the more intriguing is how these stories evolve, keeping the public divided between rational explanations and fantastic theories. For the victims' families, the search for answers is an endless cycle, a constant struggle between hope and despair. For us, the spectators, we're left with curiosity and the desire to solve these puzzles. But now, the final question is, which of these theories convinced you the most, and why? Do you believe we will ever find answers to these cases, or is mystery a permanent part of our existence? Leave your opinion in the comments, share your own theories, and suggest other cases you'd like to explore. The mystery doesn't end here, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one to help solve the next piece of this endless puzzle.